Okay, welcome to the Expat Diaries podcast. I'm Robin Wilson, and today we are interviewing and speaking with Jenna Switt, and we're so excited to hear Jenna's journey. As always, I love to just bring everyone who has made that transition from a different country to Costa Rica, what their experiences were. So not that you're going to have all of the same experiences they have, but you may have bits and pieces of their journey that can help you in the path coming down here. Maybe it will help you some of the things that they've learned along the way as you're deciding to become an expat. So without further ado, hello, Jenna.
Hi, I'm happy to be on here.
Oh, I'm so happy. I know we talked for quite a while the other day, and I was just really fascinated with, the highs and the lows. Everybody's life is filled with that, whether you're in the States or you're in Costa Rica or you're in Canada, or wherever you live. Everyone's life has a certain level of drama and wins and heartbreaks and all of the things. And so I just want to kind of kick off with you. I know that your first visit that you came down to Costa Rica, you came down for an extended period of time just for a visit, correct?
Yes. So 2015, I believe that was your same visit? Or yeah. And it was the first time I had ever solo traveled, which I think I told you really didn't feel like solo travel, other than it was just me and the bags. So what I had to carry around, I had to carry, and I'm small. So that made it feel very solo.
I'm sure.
But I spent 5 months. My friends were making bets if I would even come back. And I just saw as many places as I could. I fell in love with the place. Things were very different then, but there's just that feeling you get that you have to come back.
So where's home at originally?
I'm from Marietta, Georgia. It's outside Atlanta. I have spent more time in South Carolina. I feel like because I left for undergrad at 18. I went to Clemson, then I lived on the coast in Charleston for about 9 years. I always want to be near water.
Yeah, for sure.
And then after that, I was in Atlanta again for a little bit, and then Miami, and then here.
And so what spurred this extended trip to Costa Rica?
The original?
Yeah.
Honestly, I had lost my grandma. She would hate hearing me say grandma because it made her feel old. She wanted me to call her, I called her Mitzi my whole life.
That's funny.
We were really close, and I had the means to travel, and I really just needed some healing, kind of just something. I wanted to look back and look at, she had given me something that I'll never feel. It's just one in a million, it's like a gift. And she loved to travel, and without specific directions on you can spend this on this and this. I was like, I just want to look back and say I did something that would change my life. And
right.
And I thought she'd approve of. So
So then you just got a map out, threw a dart, and said, I think Costa Rica?
Well, so I had friends from Charleston. One of them lived in Santa Teresa.
Okay.
And then around the same time, I had a friend going from Charleston to visit that person. So it was like, well, I'll just at least start with someone I know. But he stayed in Santa Teresa with our other friend. And I kind of moved up the Nicoya Peninsula. But then I also did, Arenal, Fortuna, and then I did Manuel Antonio. I did a medical Spanish class in Dominical. I was young. I turned 30 while I was there, and so I could do that kind of hostel life, and it was more tolerable than, say, at 38.
I'm sure. I know that I couldn't do it. I probably could do it, but I don't know that I want to do it.
like bunk beds. I mean, with strangers, and not that that's the issue. It's more that like the strangers are like the animals. Like there was this cat that would just come sleep in my bed. And I was like, I'm just meant to be a cat lady, I guess. It was only my little bunk bed.
That's funny. Spiritually drawn to you.
Yeah.
So you stayed for 5 months. And did you go, so you went to Santa Teresa on that trip, but you said you went over towards the Nicoya Peninsula. Like what did you stay over there in the hostels and just move around for those 5 months before you came home?
Sort of like, so I had a Frommer's book, which was really good.
It's so funny because I used to never leave for a trip without one. And like now I don't, like, I don't take them with me anymore. You know, it's like, I don't know that it's just irrelevant anymore, but it's like there's an app for all of that.
Yeah. But so it's like Santa Teresa is really close to Montezuma, Malpais. So I would, I kind of did Malpais and then crossed over to Montezuma, which I loved. I stayed there a while.
I've done a lot of interviews from people that are like, that started in Montezuma and they just said they just stayed. Like I had one lady who's like, she came down for a wedding. She's from DC. She came down for a friend's wedding. That was like down there for like 2 weeks. And then she went back and sold all of her crap and just moved back.
I mean, I get it because it's small. I try to think about if I could live there now. It might be a little small. I like there's one ATM and it like never had money. No, I'm not kidding. Like,
and people don't understand that until you've been to Costa Rica and you go to the ATM and it's like out of cash. Because we in the States are so used, there's like a guy that has a route and that's what he does all day long is goes and fills up ATMs, right? Well, they don't have that in Costa Rica. So when it's out, you're just out until the next day when they fill it up.
Right. I mean, and it's like the whole town kind of knows, but I really loved where I stayed when I was there in Montezuma. Like, so I always would, like, when I went back, I would stay at the same place. It's called Luz en el Cielo, and this girl from Colorado started it and still owns it and has expanded it. But so then from there, I went up the Nicoya Peninsula. I think I ended up in Samara because one of my friends, my actual old roommates from Charleston, bought like a 12-bedroom house in Samara and made it like an Airbnb, and that was her job. I mean, I just happened to be in town when her and her dad were doing maintenance, and so there were no guests. So I spent like 3 weeks there.
Nice.
Yeah. And even she, at that time, she had a bunch of her friends from Charleston come visit. And we did this big quad trip. And if you've ever seen smaller people on big quads in a row, like 9 of them, it looks like Mario Kart. Like, I was like, when do I throw the turtle or the banana peel?
That's funny.
Like, the pictures are hilarious. The fact that we got lost and we're on the quads for like 10 hours. And we came back and it looked like we had just been on the set of that old movie Twister.
Right.
It was dust. Like, it wasn't a tan. I mean, it was like dust was coming out of our like nose, ears for like days. I mean,
so we had done, I tell you this, we had gone to Garza, our first trip to Costa Rica, and we had rented quads the entire time. That was just our transportation the entire time. So one of the friends that we brought with us, like this is 2015, right? So this is pre-COVID. And she's like, every time we do something, she's like, did you want hand sanitizer? Did you want hand sanitizer? Like all the time. Like she's constantly, I'm like, no, I'm good. I mean, like
I'm eating dust.
Yeah. Like, and so then at one point, every day that before we would leave, like I would make sure we had in our little, milk crate that was strapped to our quad. I would make sure like we had stuff in there, like to eat, cause we were going to be out adventuring all day long. And so I wanted to make sure that we had stuff in there. And so like constantly every time we'd stop to eat, she'd be like washing her hands and sanitizing her hands and doing all of the thing. And then one day, like it was like there hadn't been rain in a hot minute. And the roads were so dusty and dirty, and it was so hot that if you wore goggles, like they were just fogging up inside. And so we had bandanas on, but there was just like, and I've got the most awesome picture, like her face, she looks like a raccoon because there's just like dirt everywhere, whatever. And so we're starving. We're pulled over on the side of the road. We're outside of a soda. So we go in and grab, not a soda, but a mini, whatever, run in, grab some drinks or whatever. And I had brought some chicken legs that I had cooked. They were in the basket, in a little ice chest in there. And so we're like on the side of the road, and like she's like starving, and she just like rips that thing open and like grabs a chicken leg and starts eating it. I'm like, well, Darla, did we need some hand sanitizer? And she's like, how stupid is that? And so like the hand sanitizer never came out the whole rest of the time we were there. We just had dirty hands, whatever, didn't matter.
I mean, I'm thinking like, how long has that been roasting in the sun? But you said ice, so I was
we had ice chest. Yeah, I wasn't going to kill her with the salmonella
because I've had friends that actually have come in town and the dengue goes around. I mean, it has a bad reputation, but it's treatable. But I mean, imagine being on vacation. I forget sometimes that they get to go to the beach a week out of the year.
Yeah.
And I live here, and then they get dengue fever on their one like yearly trip or whatever.
Yeah. That is horrible. Okay. So you wrapped up your 5 months there. And then you go back to the States, living your life, working, doing all of the things, right? And you're a nurse, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you're back nursing in the States.
Yes.
And what brought you back?
Well, so from that first trip, I was like, I'm gonna have to like live here at some point. But I actually, for the first time since I was 18, I was like, I feel bad. I don't want to miss my niece and nephew growing up. I'm gonna try Atlanta again. Then I remembered why I don't like Atlanta. But I did meet who would become my husband while I was there. I got really great hospital experience. I did like a critical care residency at a level 1 trauma hospital.
Oh, nice.
And that was something I couldn't find in Charleston. It's all kind of who you know and all that. And I was from Atlanta. So, but we like quickly, I mean, I guess 2017, I wanted to show him like the place I love. So I tried to pick, with 10 days. I mean, I felt like 5 months wasn't enough. 10 days, you're like, I got to be real picky. And we went to Playa Grande, Montezuma, and Manuel Antonio Park. So I tried to show him like a mini favorites.
Yeah.
So that I brought him back, and I love showing people Costa Rica since I had been there. And then we decided I guess we would have been engaged at the end of 2017, but we were going to get married in Samara mostly because my friend had this house, and I was like, it'd be really cool to rent out Dana's house. And then there was a place next to it. And then it ended up being 5 houses and 50 people. And so the fact that I could plan that, like all they had to do was step off the airplane, and it was like, no matter what airport, what time, like there was a shuttle for them, same getting back. I mean, I'm a nurse, and people say I have a lot of mom energy for not having kids, or they call me Mary Poppins for what I carry in my purse, like the hand sanitizer crazy. But like, I do have it. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Floss in there. I mean, it's like a CVS. But so I almost made like our invitation was almost like a mini Frommer's. It was like, buy your own this and this, because this is weirdly expensive in Costa Rica. But then we did welcome gifts, and since everyone was traveling, everyone got one, and those like had everything in it too. So I feel like I could plan like anybody's trip, and I felt like that really helped with like moving permanently, just sort of like planning, because planning from a distance, but also just knowing it so well.
So then you guys got married in 2018?
Yes.
Okay. So, destination wedding. I'm sure it was lovely.
It was, I have good memories of it. Obviously, I look back and it's like the best party I've ever thrown for my friends.
Nice.
It's like, that's what I look at it as.
Yeah.
It was great.
So then did you guys decide at that point, like, we want to move here? Let's go back to the States, but let's figure out how to get here permanently?
I mean, I think even just when he first met me, I was already talking about I want to live there someday. So that was not a secret to anyone. And finally, when my friends sort of had to come there, they were like, "Oh, we get it." And I was like, "I've been telling you." And they were like, "I want to buy you like a property already." And my friend's like wife would be like, "Jesus, like."
It's funny because that's how my friends are too. They all know. There's nobody that doesn't know that Costa Rica, they have known for years, Costa Rica was and is the plan. So,
and it's like some people, it's your place. I mean, it's like I felt like the most myself, and I love animals, and so when it's your place, everyone knows because you're just like, look what I saw, blah blah blah. But so I don't think. I mean, we were not like on track, serious, talking about moving until probably around right before we did, which was late 2021. We moved January 2022. We were in South Beach from basically after the wedding until the move, and for his job. And so it was kind of like a good time. Maybe it was like, well, we've moved for your jobs. Like, what if we just did it? I was like, the timing. You have to have a little. You have to have some balls to do it, but timing is important too. I mean,
right.
And nobody gets it. They're like, what? They think that I machete through a driveway to get to my door. And it's like, what Nosara is like. I mean, and it's so much. I've seen it change over the year. I mean, it's just and I still get questions like, "Are you still there?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm here." It's a permanent move.
Yeah, this is where I live. Are you still in the U.S.? Yes, I am. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like I've been to the U.S. twice since January 2022. Not really that interested in going.
So when you guys moved down there, I mean, I know that we've talked and that you could do telehealth, right? So what was your husband doing for work down there?
Well, so that was one of those things that, was sort of up in the air. It was kind of like he was going to have to find a job. And, but I could, with nursing, I mean, I could basically support him. And if we had moved to Samara, so it's a little bit less, and it was less in 2022, rent and whatnot. So the idea was, I'll go first, find a place to live. I can get, I'll be working first, and then he'll do the kind of back and forth with our stuff.
Right.
And then meanwhile, he was sort of still working in Florida and then looking for jobs too.
So then that came to an end.
It did. It abruptly came to an end.
Did you see it coming?
No, and people ask me that, and it's like, and I really was blindsided. I think I was just convinced, so he had lived in China for a year, but not. He lived with his Peace Corps friends. So in areas where they were passing dead chickens over head on a bus, right. Laos, Cambodia. I mean, this was not bougie anything. So I thought and from what he said,
he had the experience for it.
Yeah. And he loved it from our trips, the wedding and everything. And maybe it was a curse that we moved to where we got married. But I guess, yeah. So luckily I got 2 cats traveled in from the States. He has a sister of one. It's a little point of contention, of course, the break.
So you guys, hang on. So you guys moved there in January.
Mm-hmm.
And then he left
April 17th
and never came back. So he spent 4 months there. That's it.
Yeah, and he wasn't even there the whole time.
Yeah.
He was back and forth. And it was like, even when he
was just relocating his ex-wife.
I mean, I guess it's just, it maybe, I don't see how it could be any, from moving from we're not South Beach people.
Right.
There are South Beach people, right? There are LA people.
Right.
There are people from Marietta, Georgia. And so living in South Beach was like a culture shock enough.
Sure.
So to think that he just, I guess he just really didn't love the idea of being in Costa Rica. And I don't think
and never verbalized it.
No, I think I remember he's very close with his parents, which is great. I'm very sad to have lost them in the divorce, I think that they really didn't want him to move, even though in my mind it's not that far off from Miami and they would visit us. But it's that same American dream kind of, why would you live there? They're very conservative, which is great. I think their house is basically paid off, one of those families that is just that, very different lifestyle. But they know their son, so I don't know. I'm not blaming them. It's just when there's not a lot of communication, you have to look back and think little things they said, and it was a text message divorce. Yeah, that was fun. I think that's pretty rare.
That's pretty crappy.
Yeah.
Let's move on from that guy.
Oh yeah, totally. And not seeing him, him being in the States and not having any awkward run-ins is the best feeling.
I bet it is. So now you get to work remotely because you're a nurse and you do telehealth. So that provides you with an income. Because I know a lot of people that are considering being expats. I see it in the forums all the time in the groups, and they're like, "Oh, can I get a job down there?" And no, you can't. You can't take jobs away from Ticos. You can't come down and be the bartender and take their jobs away and do those things as belong to them. And I know that we're looking at several different businesses that we're going to start. And because my main focus, even in the States, is creating jobs. And so when we come down to Costa Rica, when we start business in Costa Rica, it'll be about creating jobs. And so I know that after COVID, a lot of remote work has really opened up the gates for people to become expats. So it has become the cool thing to do, because now if you can work anywhere, why not just be where you want to be? Exactly. And so do you find a lot of your friends and acquaintances that you have that you hang out with, that's what they get to do? They get to work remotely?
I have a blend of friends who do different things. I have friends that are already retired and kind of are part of the company, but don't have to be there. I have friends that spend half the year in California or New York and then half the time in Nosara. There's a whole digital nomad scene.
Correct.
And even places that are literally offices that you can rent out and do that. But I don't feel like that's necessary.
Yeah.
But my friends personally, I think in Nosara, just because Nosara is it's a lot of, I don't know how to explain it. It's a lot of people who they're building this huge house. This is their dream. They might be a little older or family oriented, and they're either lucky and they open a store and you know, they do what they love, like jewelry or clothes, or
Right.
there's a lot of that. But also, I don't know a lot of triage nurses or telehealth, to be honest.
I bet.
I got lucky because, I mean, I can work. It's a U.S. company, and they didn't care where I was as long as the internet's good. And
Right.
we actually do have good internet. The mail system is like 1970-ish.
1932. I had good mail service in 1970s, so
No more Amazon like Prime, like same day, but I do get Amazon. Like,
that's cool.
I still can get it. It's just like a week. What? No, I'm kidding.
So for fun, then, what do you do right now? Because I know the typical thing, like, okay, so I'm going to stereotype you, right? So the typical thing, if I look at you, I go, oh, she's probably into meditation and yoga, and she's really living her best life. And there's like incense everywhere. You know what I'm saying? But I know from talking to you, that's not reality.
Right. No,
it's not my reality either. So I'm not picking on you.
Well, and it's like, I've just acquired these like yoga clothes sets, you know, and so when I wear that, it's especially bad. I think I told you people would ask me if I was leading the next class somewhere, what time it was, and I was just like, oh no, I just like wear the clothes.
Yeah, they're comfortable.
Yeah, like, isn't. Oh gosh, that reminds me of an SNL skit where
going to the store in my activewear.
Yeah, it's like one-sided couch.
Yeah.
The other side of the couch.
In my activewear.
Uber Eats for one bagel, and I'm like, that's kind of like, yeah. But no, I mean, so for fun, I love that I'm so close to Ostia now. That's where all the turtles. The huge, it's called an arrabata or arrival. They'll have thousands of turtles at once.
That's a beautiful black sand beach. It's so pretty.
Oh yeah, and it's like
it'll burn the hide off the bottom of your feet.
Much hotter. Just the sand.
Do not take your flip flops off till you hit the water.
I mean. And it's just cool, like you see all the eggshells I've hatched, and you know, turtles lay their eggs where they were born. I don't know how they know that. I think it's something about when they're babies, they like memorize the sand as they go to the ocean, and that's why you're not supposed to like pick them up and help them, because they're also developing their lungs. So I like learning. I don't like just, if I'm going to see the cool stuff that's fun for me, like I like someone who's into the conversation, not just like a tour guide kind of.
Right, for sure.
And figuring that out is harder than, you know, just somebody being like turtle tours or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just the respect level. So it's fun for me to, I at least have to go to Manuel Antonio Park like once a year. I wish it was more. I love that place.
So you know the little guy that goes on the beach and does the shaved ice? Like there's always like he's like 9 million years old, this little Otico, and he pushes his cart up on the sand. And he has the shaved ice, like they shave the ice, whatever. And they have one of them that is,
like a snow cone?
It's like that. Yeah. And they put whatever flavors on there. So I'm just going to tell you the next time you go, this is fantastic. So get the one that is like the dulce de leche, right? Like it's so wonderful. They put, sweetened condensed milk on it and some other sort of powder on it and something else, whatever. And they'll pour it in there. Right. And then if you'll put that in a glass with some Florida cognac, it's the best. We're like chasing him down going, okay, because he'd gone down the beach. And then whenever he came back up, we're like, okay, you got to come back because we need to make ourselves another cocktail.
That's the one person like you want to be like
bothering you. Yeah. Not the ones trying to sell you something.
For days. I think I connected with that. It's just like and it's like I'm almost one to cave and be like, I'll give it to my niece and nephew. I'm like, they don't even want that. Like a bird necklace. But I do like really like some of the new stores. Like I like buying local, like I'm wearing these necklaces. This girl, yeah, this lady I met at like a little market fair, just like a little market at a coffee place on the weekend in Garza. I just am obsessed with her stuff. Like at one point, I'm probably gonna have like 10 like different colors. But so I do like walking around and looking at the shops, and that's very like reminiscent of like being in a mall, kind of window shopping. And,
yeah.
But I mean, obviously, I like going to the beach. I'm not one of those people who can just lay there and bake. I have to get alcohol, and I walk around. I explore, pick up shells. I don't know what to do with them, so I just have a bag of them. Maybe I'm not supposed to take them from the beach, so I didn't say that.
That's hysterical. Okay, so one of the things, like we talked about, you realizing how little that you needed down there.
Right. That was mostly because in 2015, when you're traveling alone, I mean, like I said, you're the one carrying it. So, I wanted to get gifts for people, but I was like, well, then I have to lug it around. So it was sort of like every place I would stay, I would leave something like my running shoes. Like I didn't go running once. I look like yoga, breath work, athletic. No, I just straight up threw my like new Asics in like a lost and found bin at a hostel because I was like, these are heavy. Yeah. I went through probably like 7 pairs of Havianas, but those are light and whatever. But like, I think I guess the advice I was given my first trip was like, don't take anything that you'd be mad if it got stolen, because petty theft is a biggest, I think one of their biggest crimes, which on the list of crimes, that's okay with me. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Theft, like I don't like the in-home invasion, whatever. It's just, in the U.S., can you ever imagine that being the biggest issue?
No, and I think about that too, because like for a lot of people who haven't like made the trip yet, who have never experienced Costa Rica yet. I mean, if you're going to Tamarindo and you're going to do all of the bougie touristy stuff, that's a whole different story. That's
right.
It's totally a different story. But if you're just coming to Costa Rica because you want to discover and explore and do the things, I'm not even kidding you when I tell you before I come down there, I generally go to Goodwill or the DAV and I pick up just some cheap whatever, because I'm going to be dirty. I'm going to be wet. I'm going to be whatever. And then I'll take one little slip over dress that,
well, yeah. I think I wore it until it gets really ruined. And then you're like, okay, at least I have some other stuff, but
yeah, for sure. And then like, I don't care if I get dirty at the waterfalls. I don't care what happens. I don't care if my swimsuit top and my swimsuit bottom match.
No,
I don't care. And so you just have to let go of that. And I think that a lot of times the people who are like, I mean, if I were to target somebody, if I were a thief or I was a criminal of any sort, if I were going to target someone, it's going to be that one that has that whole outfit put all together with their cute little matching shoes and all of their crap. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to go, those people spend a lot of money just to come down here. I bet they have some crap I'm going to steal from them. I'm not a thief personally, and I would probably be really bad at it, but
yeah, I would definitely like.
But I just go low vibe all the time, like under the radar. You know what I'm saying? Under the radar. Don't look at me. I'm just an old white woman in some Goodwill shorts. Leave me alone. You know what I'm saying?
I also that like the best thing that you can spend money on is like good water shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Like Chacos.
I have Keens. I bring my Keens with me every time.
Barrels. And like, what other place would you look cool wearing like water shoes, by the way?
Nope. And that's the heaviest thing I bring with me too.
Yeah, and the most expensive. And I don't think people realize it. And they're also like, these are ugly, like these gringas, like, and these shoes, Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no, we need them. But
And I bought mine. I'll tell you the truth. I bought mine used on eBay. I didn't care.
my mom had some from Hawaii and gave them to me,
Yeah.
and like I think a good like raincoat is pretty important. It wasn't like my first trip. It didn't rain because I was like February. So it started a little bit maybe in April, but I left like at the beginning of June. So, but I will say like during the move, like not having certain stuff yet because somebody was supposed to like bring it on their next trip.
The person that shall not be mentioned.
Yeah. But the that was really rough because I was like, I have no rain gear. I didn't have a poncho, a jacket, boots, anything for my first like beginning of a real rain season here, and that was bad.
That first trip that we made to Garza, this is a funny story. We had been in country probably one day, and I had planned all of everything that we were going to do, right? So we were going to go horseback riding. And so the caballero come up to our house in Garza with the horses all tethered together. He didn't speak any English. I could tell you that I had shampoo in my eyeballs. That was all I knew how to tell you. And I didn't at the time, so it did not come in handy. And so we went down and we were riding. And so the beaches over and the peninsula right there is like rock formation, beach, rock formation, beach, rock formation. And so you're like through the jungle on the beach, through the jungle on the beach, through the jungle on the beach, right? There's like no other way. Like you can't like go around and go to the other. And so we get all the way up to Olga.
Buena Vista? Did y'all go to Buena Vista by any chance? I
don't know that we went that far. We made it as far as Olga's. Have you been to Olga's?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we made it to Olga's. We stopped to grab some food, and while we were at Olga's, like it starts raining.
Oh.
And I was the only one of the entire group that had worn jeans to go horseback riding. I've done this before. Like I don't want raw legs, and the rest of them all wearing shorts, right? My husband is, my business partner, our friend is, and they're like dying. They've got like their sores on their they're like tore up. So now it starts raining. We kind of sit and try to wait it out for a while. And then the cowboy tells us through our bartender that
grab somebody.
Yeah, like now now it is torrential downpour and there's lightning happening, right? And he's like,
horses love that too.
Oh God. He's like, we've got to get back. And so I mean it's pouring.
Yeah.
Literally pouring. And so my husband Brian, who's never driven this part of the country, and if you just have to understand, it's like if you were in the United States and you're driving out in the middle of down some country road, and then some hillbilly tells you turn left at the Spotted Cow, and you're going to go down 100 yards, and you're going to turn right at the dog kennel.
Yeah.
Maybe back in there somewhere you're going to find amongst the woods, you're going to find this bar back
300 meters or so. You're like, I don't even know that unit.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm like, I have to like use Google to tell me how much that is.
Diagonal from the gas station or something. Like, wait, that's the address?
Yeah. And so, so we go into the bathroom. Brian strips off his shorts. I give him my jeans because him and the cowboy are going to take the horses and go back, and he's going to bring the vehicle and come and get us. And it's dark, but it's not dark because it's nighttime. It's dark because the clouds are so heavy. And so we put a trash bag on him, and he's got my jeans. And so they're heading back. I mean, it's hours. And I'm like, there's no way he's ever going to find us. We're going to spend the night at this bar.
Panic sets in a little bit, and you're just like,
oh, we didn't care. There was French fries and rum. We were good.
Yeah.
So out of the blue, he pulls up, and we're like, we have no idea how he found us again. Like I said, it was day 2 in country, and he pulls up, and we're just like, oh my God. And he goes, I have no idea how I did this.
Yeah. Or he's like, I think I was going in circles at one point.
Probably.
the same thing.
And you know how bad the roads are. And that was, you know how bad the roads were. I don't know if you do like in 2015, like you just drive into a pothole and then drive out the other side. And then at nighttime, somebody would come and at the end of somebody's driveway, they would just dump a pile of asphalt. Like they had chipped up from somewhere else. And so you may be going along somewhere and then all of a sudden you're like almost airborne because you're hitting these piles of that they just put there like at 6 p.m. It's craziness.
I've definitely caught some air because I'm like, oh, that's a new bump.
So now I know that we were talking yesterday, and one of the things, or the other day, and one of the things we were talking about is like the things that are super expensive, right? Like
everything,
like bug spray.
Yeah. Weirdly expensive stuff, and this is like countrywide. It's really bad in Nosara, but any kind of toiletry. It's like more than alcohol. It's more than the nicest rum. I mean, it's crazy. It's
like I could buy a 18-year bottle of Florida Cognac for less than I could buy
like some good
sunscreen. Yeah.
Some like really good deep off. I'm try to do it all natural, and I probably give off that vibe. No. I'm getting like,
give me the pesticides.
Like at 98%, like I used to do a barrier, like when I would move in a place of like just DEET, I eased up on that, and I have a scorpion story, but also I think just the transportation, I think getting around, and then weirdly toiletries and just the stuff you really need, like sunscreen, like toothpaste, like stuff like that is like weirdly expensive. And it's like you're holding a nice bottle of Tito's vodka, and it's like, why is this more than like my hand soap?
I think it would work the same. It would sanitize.
I mean,
a whole handle is cheaper.
Yeah. That's a great point. Tito's. No, I was into my friend.
And it's a lovely cologne. The
alcohol. Yeah. And they get drunk, so they don't want to keep, like, they tell their friends, like, don't bite her.
Right.
Because I feel weird after I bit her.
Yeah. I'm wonky.
Yeah. No, I actually, when you're talking about that horse story, it sounded like I said horror, but it kind of was both, it sounds like. But I was same. It was just me and one other person, didn't speak any English. I thought we were doing like a walking on the beach thing for an hour. It was like 4 hours uphill, and the saddle was like my legs are too short to really have a good grip, and it's like the horse's leg would buckle, and I was just like, wait a minute. Like, if you're doing, why are you tripping?
Yeah.
And mosquitoes, I had on like yoga pants. They would bite through the pants. I was like, this is insane. Like, and it was so nice because he wanted to show me this view and get to the top of this thing. But I was just like, no, I had this accident when I was like 8, horseback riding. I was facing a fear while I was there. I think I just like increased a fear. But it, because like the horses, if you ride horses, like they don't even know I'm up there. I don't have control. Right. It's like if they want to bend down, walk off, eat, buckle their legs, forget I'm up there, run, gallop, or whatever, they can do whatever they want, and I'm just at the mercy of this animal. I'm like, I just wanted to walk on the beach.
Right.
And then he would just say tranquilo. He kept saying tranquilo, like relax, relax. I'm like, I'm not relaxed.
I'm not enjoying this.
No, it was really nice. And for 4 hours and $35 and the view, it's really nice, but not what I wanted.
So how is dating in Costa Rica? Since you're single, you've been single for a couple of years now.
Yeah, no, I thought about that a lot because we talked about that. And that's one of those things that you kind of know, like you've heard stories. I mean, these guys that live here, and they're like incredible surfers. Some of them are sponsored. They're obviously in good shape. They're younger. I mean, they're not used to hearing no.
Yeah, but you look really good for 50, so I'm just kidding. They'll be like, oh my God.
I'm gonna jump off, I think, into
I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna ride that same horse, like, and let it just buckle and tumble down a hill. No, but like honestly, there's a whole group of people that are like, I'm 38, that are around my age, and then there's like 24, and like back when I was in my prime, those years, and they try to be nice, and they're like, you look so much younger. I'm like, it's because I'm small. It kind of is an illusion because I'm only 5 feet. You can't really tell that sitting down. Maybe you can tell I'm small. I mean, I'm clearly very strong. I'm just kidding.
It's all that yoga.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Pilates, yoga, jiu-jitsu mix.
Oh yeah,
I'm just kidding.
You're bad.
Very big in jiu-jitsu. Kidding. But yeah, so dating, I mean, it's like they're used to getting out whoever they want, and they don't have to like take people out on dates. They just want to like walk on the beach or meet up, and it's like, I know what that means. Come on. Yeah. Like, so
they're surf boys. We'll just call them that for the PG version.
Yep. You know the name?
Yeah.
Oh, no, Sarah. I mean, that's no Sarah, because that's why people. Yeah, I mean, and I don't know. It's just at some point it's like your group of friends is an option, but like no, it's like incestual almost at some point, because everybody's just when it's not tourist season, like everyone knows everybody's business, and it's just like it just makes it not worth it. But I have gone on some dates. I'm very clear about if it's some like a traveler, like I'm not like look. I rather show them somewhere cool that I know about that they don't, and that be a date, than what they probably want, which is just to like come to my place and like stay with me and
pet your cats.
Pet my 70 cats to match my age. One of them is right next to me, actually.
Show me.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. He's a munchkin cat, so he has short little legs.
Oh, like a corgi if he were a dog.
Yeah, oh my God, he's so weird. He's like, doesn't even look real. I love when people see him for the first time and they're like, whoa. They're like, he's really long. I'm like, it's an optical illusion.
Is it like a wiener dog?
Yeah. But like he sleeps like an otter, if you've seen that otter.
Yeah, like on their back
arms, and it's adorable. What's funny is he flew with my ex-husband. My ex-husband has a tattoo on his calf of like a munchkin cat with the like fish band, like donut, red and blue donuts in it. And I'm just like, you're gonna have that for life.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah, and I like design that. And I'm like, I think that's just like the ultimate irony of like, well, you left, but now you're walking around with a munchkin cat tattoo, and you don't even have the cat, which you'll never get. The guys never get the pets.
No. Ever.
I mean, and if he was here, he could just like scoop one up, because there's so many animals just like everywhere. But
that's a lot of people that I think are coming. They come down and they're like, "Oh, I need to bring my pets with me," and it's like, well, first of all, make sure that they're going to be okay with this climate, and then second of all, there's so many dogs that are open for adoption in Costa Rica that you might visit a shelter before you make that decision as well.
Or the beach.
Yeah, or the beach.
and it just,
I don't know
and
where
the
it's
dog
kind of
will
good that they
threaten.
belong to somebody. So I'm going to snag a beach dog and they're going to be like, lady, that's my dog.
I know. No, I mean, really though, but they'll like follow you home and you're like, wow, you can still find your way. They know what they're doing.
They
They're
do.
smart. They'll like sit at your feet at the restaurant, and admittedly, I think me and all my friends feed them. Like, it's just that face. Like, why can anyway? But yeah, no dating. I mean, first of all, they have to be cool with somebody with 2 cats and like a studio, and like divorce story,
That's
which
just life.
But I just, at one point, you just give up. I feel like it's just like, I don't know. But
That's when you'll find someone anyways, is whenever you're just not looking for them. Your energy just changes and you're just like okay with yourself, with it being like that. And then there's this friend of mine that lives, I don't know if I told you about it. He lives a little bit north. He's a little bit south, right outside of Tamarindo. And he moved from Canada. He's in his 50s, never been married, never had a serious girlfriend.
wow.
Met the love of his life in Costa Rica.
Yeah, I mean, it's a
I
there's
hate so many
something in
pictures.
the
This
air,
is my girlfriend. I'm like, oh my God, it's so cute.
too. Mm-hmm. And then, well, then of course, like they're going to do a Costa Rica wedding too. So like, it's the only time you can force your friends to come on a trip and not back out, which is awesome. Like if you try to girls trip or whatever, it's like ends up being 3 people, but like getting married, like they so that's cool. And I think a lot has changed as far as, or maybe just it's people's views here is like just marriage isn't really necessary.
Right.
And
well, it really isn't necessary anywhere, but
right. But you never go into it thinking this is going to last a couple of years after being with somebody already a couple of years. And like I said, I was blindsided, but like, it's funny. I'm like, who wants to make me like a citizen here?
yeah. Tico, hello.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're coming to the end of our hour, but I have a couple of questions. So I always ask this to every guest. So what is something that before you moved down there, you thought was going to be extremely difficult, but you found it pretty easy?
Let's see. Gosh, I mean, that's a hard one because I don't think I loved it so much. It was like, nothing about this is difficult because I already faced all that stuff,
But maybe like something you were nervous about moving, being down there, like that you were like, I don't know if I'm going to be okay doing this thing when I go down there. When you came down, it was like, no.
Okay, so definitely. Okay, so driving, like we had a plan sort of, we had already sold his car. Mine was still in the States. And I always had told people when they come to visit, like not to rent a car just because of what you talked about with the roads, but they've actually improved a lot. But I was pretty nervous to like, even a 4x4, you have to drive a 4x4, but I always did anyway. But I thought with really awesome sense of direction and, just the no roads kind of thing, I thought that was going to be more difficult, just sort of getting around, but also you can, in Samurai, you don't really need a car because it's a little smaller, but here you do. But when I have had like I've rented cars for periods of time. I rent a quad now.
So do you rent a quad like long term or just like, hey, today I need a quad, so I'm going to rent one?
You can do either. I think from experience, it's cheaper if you do long term, and it's not like I'm ever going to not want it or need it. So the fact that the price will go down the longer it is, I got a good deal. With that said, the one that I drive does not reverse, so I have to always think of that when I park, or I'm like physically pulling out of spots.
Exactly.
And people are like, do you just not know how to do it? I'm like, no, like it really, doesn't have that option. Like no one believes. Like so, yeah, maybe I was nervous also because we got lost going from San Marino to Montezuma, Mario Kart style, for 10 hours. So I thought that getting around and traveling, like, well, at some point alone within the country would be more difficult. But I feel really comfortable with it. I mean, if anything, I would love to have a car, like any car, really. Like my old 98 Jeep Cherokee that just everything died eventually at the end of nursing school. Like that would be perfect for here.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
But
I think about those people all the time. They're like, okay, can I ship my vehicles in? I'm like, oh, please don't. I mean, first of all, it's like so expensive to first of all, just the process of shipping it in. And then when you get here, the duty that taxes you're going to pay on it, are just insane. And buying a vehicle here is expensive, but it's not as expensive as bringing your vehicle in.
Yeah. And I mean, and we kind of looked at that too, sort of the options. Like we were never going to ship like my car. I was lucky enough. There's travel nursing and then there's like traveling somewhere and then being a nurse.
Right.
Which is different. But I did travel nursing and those contracts.
Are they 6 weeks or 3 months or?
They can be as long as you want. You can extend them. But I was able to buy, because I was going to be travel nursing, I was going to be driving. I never had a car with all the safety features. You know what I mean? So I got a Lexus SUV, and that's not a Costa Rica car. No. It has run flats, which someone had to explain to me. I was like, wait, so you don't change the tire? It just keeps going until you get somewhere? They're like, that would be a nightmare. They'd be running flat the whole time.
Forever.
But so there are used SUVs, and with the shipping thing and the mileage being so much lower on cars in the States, for $5,000, you could get an old Honda CRV 4x4 with maybe 50,000 miles on it, shipping in. To me, it's worth the extra, even if it's 2,500, to have a car with good mileage and know that it hasn't been just trucking through potholes. So we did look into that, because that same car, it could have 200,000 miles on it and it'd be $10,000.
Right.
And
then it's not like they're highway miles. They're mountain goat miles.
Yeah. I mean, minus the goats. They're I call them the Bassettown cows because their ears are really long.
Yeah.
I even like the cows. I mean, so this is a place.
Yeah. Okay. So then on the flip side of that, what was something that you thought was going to be easy and it
I'm just laughing already because, I mean, this happens to everyone. So I thought that it would be sort of you move, you stay somewhere, maybe an Airbnb, and you're looking for a permanent place. Ideally, we wanted to do sort of, I think, what most people want to do, which is eventually build a house or buy sort of a eco-friendly, we wanted a tiny home or a container house, but we needed something permanent-ish, before we had the money to really settle. And that there's so many renting nightmares that I can talk about. And it's you think it's just going to be okay, it looks like the pictures. Sometimes it's even a little complex, or the people seem really nice, or, I felt like I was constantly moving, and that was hard because you're moving with more and more stuff because you're moving your life down there. So you go from nothing I would want stolen to everything, the most, your life.
Yeah.
there's some stuff that I still don't have here, but oh, cat. What if just like 20 walk by? And I'm just like, well, that's like,
that's why
doesn't like to date. Yeah. But yeah, so just finding a solid, like legit place you like the owners, the maintenance is good, or you can maintain it because it's nice and new and not crazy expensive. That was hard. That took a while. And
so how much is your studio that you have right now? How much is that a month?
So it is $900 a month, which is people are like, whoa, that's really good for no star. I'm like, yeah. I mean, because a lot of people, they can pay that, not have hot water, not have like a real washer. We have a really nice, like, I share a wall with this other girl. It's like I don't know, duplex.
Yeah.
Like, what do you call it?
They're duplexes.
It's tail. This is not helping my case here. At least there aren't like, like pictures of them like behind me, like murals of like the cats.
Oil paintings.
Yeah, actually my ex's aunt painted those, but I don't have those up. Nor will I ever. Sorry, Linda.
Yeah, Linda.
Yeah, so like we have like a nice backyard. It's like I feel safe. I'm in Esperanza. It is loud sometimes. It's close to the road, but like I have a little Nest Cam that like sort of makes me feel safe. It's basically when I go out of town, I talk to the cats through it.
Yeah.
It's a glorified pet cam, but 900 and then plus the electricity. And I could be better about that. But I mean, for the animals, if I turned off the AC and fans and left, I mean, it just, you come back to like an easy bake oven.
I'm sure. It's so sweltering.
Your stuff just gets ruined. It's just not, I rather pay the electric, which can be a little bit high sometimes, but I have these indoor spoiled animals.
That's how it goes. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up. I loved chatting with you today.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not the best at this.
Nobody is. Everybody's like, nobody's a professional. We're all just telling our stories. We're all just telling our stories. What are they? So if you don't mind, if you are watching this podcast, subscribe below, opt in, download, all of the fun things that you should do. And if you have somebody who's has been talking about moving to Costa Rica, has been talking about becoming an expat, just click the link and share mine and Jenna's podcast with them and let them just walk through a journey of someone who's already done it. And especially for like single women, I know that in some of the forums, I see a lot of single women going, is it safe to come there alone? Yes, it is. And not just if you're young. I've traveled there alone by myself several times. I've never felt unsafe. Right. I never felt like I had to be worried about anything. So follow along on the journeys. We're going to have some interesting podcasts coming up. If you haven't hit some of the ones before, there's some really cool ones there too. And for everybody else, Pura Vida, have a great day.
Pura Vida.